So Kanye West performed on SNL, and apparently at the end of it, when the credits were running, he went on a pro-Trump rant. And the audience was not feeling it. Rapper Kanye West went on a pro-Trump rant on stage after his appearance on Saturday Night Live this week. West, wearing a Make America Great Again hat, pushed back on criticism of his support for President Trump and was booed loudly by the audience. There's so many times, quote, there's so many times I talk to like a white person about this and they say, how could you like Trump? He's racist, West said. Well, if I was concerned about racism, I would have moved out of America a long time ago. West, who performed 2 songs on the show, made the comments off air during the SNL credits, with the show's cast standing on stage behind him, many shaking their heads and appearing to roll their eyes in response. Comedian Chris Rock, who was in the audience, shared video of the rant, which criticized Democrats for their, quote, plan to, quote, take the fathers out the home and put them on welfare on his Instagram page. Rock can be heard laughing in the video as other audience members booed and yelled at West. West has been outspoken about his support for Trump in the past, drawing criticism from many fans. Earlier this year, he praised the president in a series of tweets saying Trump was his, quote, brother, because the two are both dragon energy. Trump thanked West for his support, saying it was very cool. So, the transition is fully complete. That's the point of this segment. Before, it was like, okay, it's almost like, oh, he's only flirting with going, I'm super right-wing. But now I think the transition is fully complete. And if you ask me, the exact point where that happens is not even the MAGA hat thing, because the other week he wore a MAGA hat and also wore like a Colin Kaepernick jersey or something. And okay, that's just contradictory. I know that he thinks like, I'm a genius and this is genius shit. No, that's a contradiction and you're wrong. Like you have to pick one or the other. There's a giant contradiction there. One guy despises Colin Kaepernick, pressured the NFL to make it so that he doesn't have a fucking job because he decided to do a peaceful protest to try to end police brutality. The other guy did a peaceful protest to try to end police brutality. So you don't get to say, oh, God, I got both. I like both. See what I'm doing? I'm a genius. No, you're not. That's contradictory. That's what that is. That's a contradiction. You don't get to override contradictions through force of personality. Let's just be clear about that. That's not like a thing that exists. That's a logical You have to pick one. Now, he could argue, I'm trying to bring everybody together. Fair enough. But on that particular issue, do you support the person who took away somebody's free speech and their job because they were trying to get reform to police departments and end police brutality? Do you support the person who axed that person or the person who is in favor of reforming and getting rid of police brutality? Which one do you support? Because on that issue, you have to pick one. You can't have both. You can't say, I agree with Trump and I agree with Colin Kaepernick on that. That makes no sense. That's not possible. So, but that's why I say, at least he's contradicting himself. So there was a shred of like, well, maybe he's not a total and complete right-wing guy. But now that's it. Because he says, Democrats have a plan to take fathers out of the home and put them on welfare. Democrats have a plan to take fathers out of the home. Yes, that well-known Democratic policy, that well-known Democratic bill where it is the let's incentivize fathers to be out of the home act. That doesn't exist. These are just dumb, nonsensical, far right-wing talking points. That's what that is. Oh, you have a plan to keep fathers out of the home and put them on welfare. Here's a thought, Kanye. Have you ever realized that, hey, maybe that we have welfare, that we have a social safety net, because the system as it exists does not allow people, a lot of people, unfortunately, to survive and make a decent living. You do know, for example, Kanye, that the minimum wage in this country is not a living wage. So you can work full-time at a minimum wage job and not make enough money to survive, and then you need to go on welfare, you need to go to the social safety net to get support to make ends meet so that you can, feed your kid and keep the fucking light bill on, even though you're already working a full-time job. You do know that, right? He doesn't know that. He doesn't care. He doesn't care that half of workers in America make $30,000 a year or less. It's not him. He doesn't care that 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. He doesn't care that the top 1% in this country have rigged the rules in their favor and against working people. So when you have a system that's rigged against you, yes, you have to have some sort of way to ameliorate the ills of that system and have a social safety net, which makes it so that people aren't starving in the street and fucking dying. But he doesn't understand. He doesn't care because he's not one of those people. I don't care. I don't care about those people. Fuck do I care? I'm a fucking millionaire. I'm famous. I'm a millionaire. Of course I'm going to come out here and regurgitate fucking dumbass Candace Owens, Steven Crowder bullshit talking points about how Democrats have a plan to take fathers out of the home and put them on welfare. But believe it or not, this actually gets more interesting. So I think the right-wing conversion of Kanye is complete. And then he went on Twitter afterwards, and he said the following. He tweeted this picture with him wearing the Make America Great Again hat, and he said, "This represents good and America becoming whole again. We will no longer outsource to other countries. We build factories here in America and create jobs. We will provide jobs for all who are free from prisons as we abolish the 13th Amendment. Message sent with love." Okay, so I actually think there's parts of this tweet where I'm about to break it down and explain how he's 100% wrong, and he is just a right-wing guy now, it's clear. But there is one part of this tweet where I think people are being unfair to him, because he says, we will provide jobs for all who are free from prisons as we abolish the 13th Amendment. People are interpreting that as Kanye West saying, because the 13th Amendment got rid of slavery. People are interpreting that as Kanye West saying, hey, let's bring back slavery. That's not what he's actually trying to say. Now, granted, he's not that bright, so he didn't lay this out properly, but what he's trying to say is the part of the 13th Amendment that allows forced labor in prisons, let's get rid of that part of the 13th Amendment, because that part is basically legally allowing slavery for people who are criminals and who are locked up and who are in prison. So what he's saying is, let's get rid of that part of the 13th Amendment. Obviously, I'm against slavery, but I'm also against it for people who are in prisons, which I actually agree with him on, and I think that's what he's referring to. Now, do you think, Kanye, that that's something that Donald Trump is in favor of? Because he's not. Do you think that the Republican Party is going to push for ending forced labor in prisons? The Republican Party, probably of all the issues that they do not give a fuck about, on the top of the do not give a fuck about list is people who are criminals and who are in prison. They could not care at all about them. Not even a little bit. It would not never make their agenda. They simply do not give a maybe you get the occasional like Rand Paul who's like libertarian leaning. He might work with some Democrats on reforming the criminal justice system. But the Republican Party and Trump do not care at all about forced labor in prison. They think, whatever, they fucking deserve it. They did fucked up stuff, so now they need to be a slave in prison. By all means, be a slave. So that's what I think Kanye was concerned about. And I agree with him on that issue, but he's wrong in thinking Republicans are going to address that. They're not going to address that. Trump's not going to address that. But then the worst part, guys, come on, Kanye. This represents good and America becoming whole again. We'll no longer outsource to other countries. We build factories here in America and create jobs. Kanye, that's just not true. I've spoken about this before on the show. We've given the numbers. In Trump's first year as president, 93,000 jobs were outsourced. 93,000 jobs were outsourced. Now, Obama wasn't good on this issue either. There were 87,000 jobs that were outsourced under Obama. So I think Obama was terrible on this front, but 87,000 is a lower number than 93,000. That's called math. So for the guy who, I'm running against outsourcing, I'm going to keep your jobs here, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be tremendous, believe me, unbelievable. Unbelievable. For that guy to then have 93,000 jobs outsourced on his watch, by the way, remember when he saved the Carrier factory? That actually didn't happen. It was all a fucking ruse, and it was a photo op, and it was a marketing scheme. Because a year after he saved it, they outsourced the jobs anyway. And not only did they outsource the jobs, they also got a massive, massive corporate welfare check subsidy from the government. So Trump hoses the taxpayers to give them extra money to save the jobs, and then they outsource the jobs anyway a year later. So it was a ruse. It was a scam. It was all marketing. It's not. He's a liar. That's what he is. So the idea of, Trump is not going to outsource the jobs. He already did, and he's not going to build, and now we're going to build factories in America to create jobs. That didn't happen. And then here's where people say, oh, yeah, but there was a lot of private sector job creation. Number one, there was a lot of private sector job creation under Obama, too. Do you guys give Obama credit for that? No. Number two, you shouldn't give Obama credit for that or Trump credit for that, because these are not only private sector jobs, but they are low-wage jobs replacing higher-paying jobs. Wages have actually gone down. They have not gone up. When you adjust for inflation, wages are down. So you don't get credit for that. And also, we're in a fucking bubble and it's going to burst any minute. So Kanye, you're wrong. You're wrong about this stuff. It's not true. What you're saying is garbage. That's nonsense. And then, by the way, Kanye went on, when people were like, yo, you want to abolish the amendment that got rid of slavery? That's when he tweeted again. He said, the 13th Amendment is slavery in disguise, meaning it never ended. We are the solution that heals. And then he said, not abolish, but let's amend the 13th Amendment. We apply everyone's opinions to our platform. Listen, man, there are people who I know and respect who have made the case to me, hey, listen, Kanye, I actually think he is a genius. Here's why I think he's a genius. And I heard the arguments out, and I'd be lying to you guys if the particular arguments I heard didn't inch me in the direction of, maybe you're right. Maybe there is something there that I'm not seeing, and he's not just, I don't want to be harsh here because the guy isn't even really a political guy. He's a rapper more than anything, but not that bright. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is bright and I'm not seeing the whole picture and I'm off about something and I'm too hard on Kanye. No, after seeing this, I'm not too hard on him. He just went down a YouTube rabbit hole of Jordan Peterson videos and Candace Owens videos and probably Stephen fucking Crowder and Ben Shapiro. And he walked away going, oh, those guys are truth tellers. And now that he's showing that publicly. And, it's just, you don't get to claim you're a genius and then watch a bunch of shitty right-wing videos and not fact-check it and just regurgitate the talking points and then still try to maintain, I'm a genius. No, that's not what a genius does. That's what a chump does. That's what a rube does. That's somebody who's not interested in getting to the reality of the situation. They're interested in being in personality cults and falling in line behind Trump or falling in line behind one of these right-wing YouTubers and just acting like, what do you mean? They're truth tellers. Hey, they spoke really fast as they said all these things that were factually untrue, so therefore I think it's probably true and I'm going to agree with it and I'm going to regurgitate it. Nonsense, Kanye. Absolute nonsense. So my guess is Kanye West has been uninvited from many cookouts now as a result of what he's done.